Can't get any words. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast for another week. I just want to kick the episode off by starting by saying thank you for all the messages and shit from last week's episode. Appreciate all the support, and a couple of those messages were like pretty intense, saying like more or less that I'm helping people through their week, which I said back in the day when I started this podcast, that's what I wanted it to be. And they just said they sort of appreciated me coming in here and being so raw and honest, because a lot of the shit they can relate to as well. And yeah, thank you for that. The only thing I don't want to come in here every week and be the whiny little bitch, you know what I mean? So every now and then I might come in here and go on a little bit of a rant or a tangent or something like that and give you guys a bit of an update. But yeah, the last thing I want to do is be that whiny little bitch cunt every week that comes in here and has a sook on his podcast. So there's more than enough of those out there these days. I want to be the look, and as much as this is like lame to say out loud, but Theo Von is like, his podcast style is one of my favorite styles. And that's the more that I stand back and look at the podcast, that's sort of where I want to be. Like, have these solo ones where I can go on my crazy little tangents and fill you guys in on what's going on in my life and shit like that. And then every now and then still get like a cool guest where I can like chop the shit with. And I'm talking to a few people at the moment about trying to get some guest episodes in and shit like that. And that could be me going to them, me meeting up at like a comedy club up in the city or something, having a chat in there, which would be a cool backdrop and things like that. So yeah, as you guys know, my wheels are always turning. But again, just want to say thank you to everyone that did reach out and send me some pretty cool fucking messages to receive. Help me get a little bit of pep in my step. But yeah, coming in here hot off some potentially fresh breaking news, but it has not been confirmed yet. But if it's true, geez, that's fucking sick. And we will get to it when we get towards... We'll do it at the end of the episode. Let's do that. Well, I'll keep you guys hanging. That's a... what do they call that in the world of radio? I forget. It's like not a teaser. They've got a special word for it. But anyway, let's get into my crazy week of just shit stories. Not shit stories, crazy stories. Can't get any worse stories. There we go. Fucking bang, nailed it. One sec. Oh, yeah. I'm loving these banana whiskeys on a Monday. They're something to look forward to, you know. Just come and cleanse my soul in here and have a couple of sips of banana whiskey. But just wanted to start with a few stories about my kids. Finished the podcast last week, and I think I may have spoken about this again in the past, but if I haven't, both my kids are terrible fucking sleepers, right? Almost every single night we'll wake up, they'll be in our bed, guaranteed. And we've tried every trick in the book besides like shutting their door and locking it from the outside, which is torturous. I would hate that to happen to me, so I'm not going to fucking put my kids through it. But anyway, Nikita messaged me last week. It must have been Tuesday, like the day this last week's episode came out. Otherwise, I would have spoken about it then, you know what I mean? Anyway, she goes, I've had so many shit sleeps in a row. We need to do something to get the kids to stay in their room. So she went and bought these, and I don't know where the fuck she bought these, but these are the most amazing things in the world, especially for someone as autistic as me. But they're like these fluffy bed sheets, and they're incredible. I could lay on my kids' beds all day, every day now, and it feels like I'm being hugged by a teddy bear. They're the best things in the fucking world. But so we're like, oh, maybe if it's warm and cozy in there, they'll stay in their beds longer. And I was at home, a little bit bored and a little bit brainstormy as to what the fuck we could do. So I've come up with this brilliant idea that I made up these two imaginary people, and some nights before the kids go to bed, they're like, oh, can you tell us a story? And I've made up this like mystical world of, so both my sons' names are Weston and Parker. So get this for creativity, right? The characters in these stories, I've mixed it up and I've called it Peston and Walker. And they love these two characters, right? I don't know why. It's not the most creative thing I've ever done, but sometimes the best things you do are the least creative things you think you're doing. That didn't come out right, but anyway, let's move on. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, what the fuck can we do? So I'm like, Peston and Walker. Maybe Peston and Walker can trick these kids into sleeping in their own rooms. So I go to the cheap shop. I buy, I don't know if you guys have seen them. They're like these little phone cages, and you're supposed to put all your phones lined up in there, and then like first person to unlock the key loses and has to pay for dinner or whatever. Some sort of lame thing like that. So I bought 2 of these, and then I bought a bunch of lollies, a bunch of cheap little like $2 toys and stuff. I came home, went on my fucking best mate ChatGPT, and I go, type me a poem from our sleep buddies, Peston and Walker, to try and convince us to sleep in our beds for the night. And if they do, there'll be a key left under our pillows to unlock these cages for all the lollies and toys. And so I do that. I spend an hour or so going to the shops, buying all that, coming back, setting it all up. And right before the kids get home, I'm like, oh, how else can I do this? So Nikita's got a heap of glitter because she's like the craft queen. And I found a sleep mask and shit like that. So I'm like, oh, I can pretend Peston and Walker knocked me the fuck out so they could break in and set this up. And they sprinkled like sleep dust on me. And I've passed out beside the front door. So when the kids come in, I've got a sleep mask on. I'm on a pillow. I've got the little poem that I got ChatGPT to type up. It's leaning on me. I'm under a snug little blanket and shit. Anyway, I hear the kids pull up in the driveway. So I quickly run and get under my blanket. They walk in and they're like, oh my God. Like Nikita's still getting bags and shit out of the car. They're like, oh my God, you have to come and look what Dad's doing. And I'm not moving. I'm obviously asleep. I'm knocked out by Peston and Walker. And yeah, the kids come in and they read the poem and then they sprint to their bedroom. And I'm like, oh, sick. Like my plan in my head was these kids are going to walk in and fucking wake me the fuck up so I could come and enjoy the fun with them. But they've left me asleep in the middle of the lounge room. Nikita comes in with like all the school bags and her bags for the day. So I felt a bit bad that I didn't go out and help her, but it was worth it, right? Anyway, Nikita's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, trying to trick them to stay in their beds. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then she fucking walks to see what I've done as well. And I'm like, Nikita. And she came back. She's like, what? And I'm like, is nobody going to wake me the fuck up? Like, I just got to be asleep on our lounge room floor forever? And she's like, oh, kids, come wake your dad up. And I'm like, this was so much more amazing in my fucking head than how it played out. I thought I was going to be like dad of the year for this little adventure that I've set the kids on. And they come back, they wake me up. They're like, come look at the cages. And they're like, blah, blah, blah. They're like, we don't want to wait till the morning to get the key. And I'm like, oh, you have to. It's like the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Parker finds out that if you pick this cage up and tip it on its side, the holes in the cage are big enough for all the lollies and fucking toys and shit to fall through. So that bit me on the ass a little bit. Nikita's like, why didn't you write the poem and then leave the cages empty so they'd go to sleep and then in the morning they'd wake up to the toys and shit? And I'm like, of course, that's such a better way to do it. Like, that's why she's in charge of all the birthdays and shit like that, because she thinks that next step, whereas I just get the excited idea and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's fucking create mystical sleep fairies for no reason. Oh, but let's keep going with the kid stories, eh? And this isn't a long story. It's just something that I found funny as fuck. So Weston and Parker do these joint swimming lessons now on a Friday afternoon, and I don't know, they're okay. There's a fucking fly buzzing around my face. Anyway, their teacher, super nice lady and things like that. But the first like couple of weeks, I think they've been doing it for like 3 or 4 weeks now, something like that. First couple of weeks, I thought I could hear her saying, because son's name's Weston, like I just said before, I thought I heard her say Wilson, and I'm like, nah, surely not, because before every lesson she yells out Weston and Parker, and maybe I just haven't been listening to that part. And yeah, that Friday just gone, I've gone up to the pool with the towel to wrap around Westy, and she goes, see you, Wilson. Have a good week. I'll see you next week. And I'm walking back with Westy. I'm like giggling to myself. I'm like, does she think your name's Wilson? And he's like, and then he laughed. He's like, yeah, I don't know why she does it. And I'm like, don't you want to correct her? He's like, No, I think it's pretty funny. I'm like, that's good. That's good that he has that attitude, because some kids would be like, that's not my fucking name. But anyway, yeah, Wilson. Maybe that could be the next mystical sleep fairy, old Wilson. The only thing I could think of every time she said it was like that volleyball on Castaway. Believe it or not, I've never seen Castaway. Might surprise you guys, but I know there is a volleyball, and this is the part I'm unsure about. I've heard and I think I got this off Family Guy, but does he have sex with the volleyball, or he just becomes friends with the volleyball? I'm not too sure. Write in. Let me know in the YouTube comments or TikTok comments. Oh, what else have we got? What else has happened this week? Yes, this is another kid story. And this was supposed to be on last week's episode, but we all knew how last week's episode went down, right? It was just a mental health dump on you guys. And this happened this must happen Sunday last week. And I thought this was going to be the story of the week last week. I thought this was going to be my clip and all that. And hope you guys saw my social media clip this week. It was just, I trimmed down 15 minutes of Parker on my lap and in the camera and shit like that. Actually came out pretty funny. I was pretty stoked with that one. So go give that some love on Instagram or TikTok or wherever the fuck you follow me on socials. Or you might not follow me on socials. Go follow me. Anyway, as we all know, I'm a proponent of ice baths and saunas. There's a lot of people shitting on them now, saying that all the evidence we thought back then doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. But I can say for me personally, it makes me feel better. And the ice bath at the moment is torture. Going through summer, I was like, why does everyone suck about these? These are fun, relaxing, refreshing. Feels good to just dunk your head under freezing water. And now it's taken me a good minute of just my legs in the water, standing there going, why the fuck am I doing this? I don't need to do this. This is stupid. It's freezing. I want to get the fuck out. And literally the last 3 or 4 days, I've done that. I've stood there for a minute, and then I've just had to more or less blank my brain and just collapse into the water. And then once you're in there, it's fine. But it's I think it was a few days ago, it was freezing cold fucking day. And I've just fallen into this water. And as I've come back up to the surface, I was so cold and just uncomfortable. The only thing I could do was laugh out loud. And it was such a weird feeling that my body almost felt like it was in pain. It was so cold, and all I could do was laugh at the situation. So, but anyway, my kids have become really good friends with the new neighbors that are there, which is good. Amazing. Fucking great. I used to be mates with heaps of my neighbors. I used to be out on the street till nighttime, shit like that. Things are a little bit different these days, so we're a little bit more cautious about street time and things like that. But luckily, they both love each other's yards, so there's a lot of backyard play between the two of them, running from house to house, things like that. And last Sunday, I was it was the middle of the day. I didn't get to do my sauna and ice bath in the morning for whatever reason. It's the weekend, life happens. So it's lunchtime. I go get in the sauna, and I'm chilling in the sauna, and then all of a sudden, I'm just in my jocks. That's all I've got on. So do with that what you will. That'll probably go on someone's OnlyFans or something like that. But I'm in the sauna, and the kids have been oh, can the neighbors come over? And Nikita and I are nah, give us an hour or so. We want to clean the house. I want to finish the sauna and ice bath, blah, blah, blah. And I'm in the sauna. I'm 10 minutes in, so I'm only halfway. And I hear the front door open, and I'm who the fuck could that be? I'm oh, maybe mum's come around or something like that. And then I hear kids laughing and shit running through my house, and I'm oh my God, the neighbor's kids are over. This is the worst possible thing that could happen right now, because I'm in my fucking jocks. And they sprint past the sauna, and my sauna's got a window in it, but it's always steamed up from the steam. So you can't see in there. But obviously these kids are curious, so they've tried to look through the window, and I'm just fucking trying to become a turtle and shell into myself inside the sauna. And they both try and peer in. They can't see anything, so they run off into the backyard. And Nikita comes to the sauna window. She's what the fuck? And I'm yeah, what the fuck? I'm the one in here. I'm you need to get them out of our house. And she's it's fine. They're playing, they're having fun. And I'm like, dude, I'm in my fucking jocks and there's random kids in our yard. And she's like, oh, you're being weird. You're thinking too much. And I'm like, how would we feel if we sent our kids to their house and they came back and they're like, we're like, do you have fun? They're like, oh, yeah, their dad was just cruising around in these jocks. And she's like, that would be weird. And I'm like, that's fucking me. I'm the weird dad right now. And that made her realize that maybe this situation was a little bit weird. And she's like, oh, you'll just have to do what you got to do. I'm like, I have to go from the sauna to the ice bath after this. And she's like, yeah, it'll be fine. And I'm like, I'm revealed in an ice bath. There's no curtain. There's no nothing. I'll just be sitting in this cold bath, shivering in my jocks. And these strangers' kids will be staring at me going, your dad's fucking weird. And my kids will have to go, yeah, he does this every day. He has some weird mental health issues going on. The only thing that can cure them for him is saunas, ice baths, and whiskey. And then every Monday, he goes into his garage and he talks to people on the internet for some weird reason. So, yeah, that's our dad. What does your dad do for fun? Oh, he smokes meat and drinks beers with his friends. That's pretty normal. That's cool. I wish our dad was like that. But, hey, you can't help these things, can you? So, I don't know. I found that weird. Luckily, Nikita convinced him to run over to their house for like 10 minutes and I just got the fuck out of the sauna. I went and had a cold shower that day. Felt a little bit more appropriate. Oh. This was another awkward moment. And it was weirdly awkward. So, like I said, like work and shit had died down and I don't even know how to word this without getting in trouble, but sometimes people of the trade variety, if you're in a trade or things like that, some clients like to pay you in an old form called cash rather than bank transfer, right? So I finished a job maybe 6 months ago or so, all lodged officially, things like that. So come at me, I'll show you my fucking books. Anyway, so I had a sum of money in my secret location in my house that I'm not going to tell you guys on the podcast. And Nikita's sister came over the other day and I think like they had something going on at her work the next day, or maybe her daughter had something at daycare and she needed like $20. And Nikita's like, oh, do you have $20 in your wallet? So I went to the cupboard and I'm like, I got my wallet out and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I've only got hundreds. And like, as I said that, I'm like, that sounds like an arrogant thing to say. And then Nikita, I go, what about you? Didn't you have some cash? And she goes to her wallet and opens it and she's like, fuck, I've just got hundreds as well. And then I'm like, oh, Westy was counting some cash the other day because for school they're learning about money and shit like that. So I'm like, oh, here's a fucking bundle of money. Count this out. So he's counting it all. And I'm like, what about that money Westy was counting the other day? She's like, oh, they were all hundreds as well. And I'm just standing there like, this sounds like we're just rolling in fucking cash right now. But really, realistically, if you like laid them all out, there might be $1,000 there. But it was like a funny moment of someone wanting $20 and we're just like, oh, we only deal in hundreds around here. Anything less than 100 is fucking disgusting. But yeah, her sister's like, wow, you guys are doing all right. And we're like, no, we're really not. Help me, I'm poor. That's a quote from Bridesmaids. Classic movie. We're going to get to some movies and TV series shortly. So again, I'm just baiting you guys with teasers. But this was the last story from my personal life this week. As I've said, walk our new dog. She's not even new anymore. Just walk our dog every day. And she loves it. She froths for a walk. She's like at the door every day going, let's fucking go. And I like to take her for decent walks every sort of second day or something like that, sort of like 4 to 5 Ks. And where we live, there is a giant main road and you've got to go, it's like a big hill to walk up, right? And we go up that like every day. And it's a busy as fuck road. Like every time you're on that road, there's at least maybe 20 cars that can view you at all times. You know what I mean? Either coming or going opposite directions. It's a main road. And my dog has never shat on a walk. And I'm like, oh, we must have one of those fucking magical dogs that doesn't shit on walks, because every time I'm walking my dog and I see someone picking up shit on the side of the road, I'm like, suck shit. That is fucking disgusting. Anyway, I'm walking up this main road. I'm walking up the hill. We're 10 minutes from home. Once we hit this hill, we're 10, maximum 15 minutes from home. And I'm like, yes, this has been a great walk. I cannot complain about this walk. It's been magical. I've cleared my head. My dog's having fun. I'm going to go home and have a good day. And as we're halfway up the hill, my dog stops, and I've kept walking because I'm like, oh, she must be sniffing something. So I'm like, oh, nah, I'm the master. I'm the boss. You fucking walk when I say walk, right? So I've kept walking, and normally the lead that follows me is like stiff, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's weird. Give it another pull and not coming. So I turn around and I see my dog in the shitting position, and I'm like, you're fucking joking me. But this is where can't get any worse. Here we go. This is the can't get any worse story of the week. I've started to prepare myself. I've got my little shit bag in my pocket, so I've pulled it out. And as I've done that, my dog looks at me in the eyeballs and does the most explosive spray fucking diarrhea all over the footpath you could imagine. And like I said, there's probably 20 people who are watching me right now, and they're not thinking this, but in my head, I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's 20 people that are going to call the cops or animal welfare or something if I don't like pick up this shit. So my dog's finished. She's stoked. She wants to keep walking. And I'm like, well, now you see what you've done there. You've created a job for me that I now have to put on my best acting hat that I have in my arsenal. And I have to pretend in front of all these cars that I'm down there scooping up a shit, which is realistically just paint on a fucking pavement. And I'm like clawing at this diarrhea shit. It's fucking disgusting. I should have put a disclaimer on this story. And I've got as much as I possibly could with what I had on me. And I've gone, surely these cars have looked at me and gone, what a good bloke. He's picking up his dog's shit. Little do they know, if they came closer, they would still see a meter by meter square of just explosive fucking dog shit. So I've like got this baggie now of disgusting diarrhea shit, walking the rest of the way up the hill, and I'm like, I hate my fucking life right now. I'm never walking a dog again. And I get to the top of the hill and I cut through the bush path onto our street. I'm on our street and I'm like, all right, we're safe. We're safe. I'm 2 minutes from home. I can put this in the bin. We can all move on and never have to fucking talk about it again. And as I turn onto my street, for whatever reason, the manliest of manly men, tree loppers, I think we can all agree that tree loppers are pretty manly blokes. There's probably 6 of them. And as I've got off the footpath and entered my street, I've seen them, they've seen me, and I'm just obviously this dude in the early mornings when I should be at work like they are. I wanted to be like, hey guys, I'm one of you. I'm a tradie as well. I'm doing office shit today, so I'm in my normal clothes. I'm a bloke. Like, get a 4X out of the van and I'll smash it right now. And they're looking at me. I've got a Dalmatian, which could argue is possibly one of the gayest dogs to walk. She's got a pink harness on. Again, the odds are stacking up not in my favor right now. And I'm carrying a little baggie of liquid shit. And these blokes are just staring at me like, look at this fucking punce walking his dog. He should be cutting down trees like us, not fucking walking his dog. And I've just had to like skip past these blokes. And as I've got past, like, I feel like almost one single tear just rolled down my cheek. Like, oh, I wish I was still a man. I wish I was still a man that didn't get on stages and tell dick jokes and then come in his garage and tell more dick jokes or shit jokes. But that's not me anymore. I'm a changed man. I'm a changed fucking man. But I thought I'd mix up the what's the word? Like the running order this week. Because the last few weeks I've told a couple of stories that have almost related to like my week in comedy. So now I'm going to try telling you like stories like I just did, then go into my week of comedy, and then we'll go into fucking news and movies and all that sort of shit. So more or less the first 30, 40 minutes will be my life, Sick Lil Wayne and the game song from back in the day. Go listen to that. And then we'll get into like news articles and shit like that. So maybe some people just like listening to my shit, Or maybe some people just like listening to me rant about movies and shit. So you can like either pick and choose, or you can fucking, I don't know, rather than it being all scattered all over the place. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's fucking rip right in. So first gig of the week, I had The Cellar at West End. One of the sickest rooms going around. I know I say that a lot, but it's one of the comedy clubs that you want to get in with. And I had a bit of a laugh with the boys up there. They go, "Oh, how's everything going?" I'm like, "Mate, I'm getting some pretty good gigs around the place at the moment." I'm like, "I just got to crack these ones, the old guilt-free gigs." And they had a laugh. We all had a laugh at how awkward it was that I'm not good enough to be on their shows. But luckily enough, this was the kicker. It started late. It was meant to start at 7, started at 7:30 just because we were waiting for the crowd to roll in, things like that. Things happen. And I was towards the end of the lineup, and I was like lately I've been towards the front, which has been sick. Get in, do my set, fuck off home. Be home by like 9:30. I didn't get on the stage until about 9:30 on Wednesday night, and I was falling asleep in the green room. I'm like, I have comfy, autistic, fluffy sheets to get home to, but no one understood. No one else there had fluffy, autistic, comfy sheets. But that could be the episode title. I like that. Anyway, get up there and flick the switch. Had a fucking sick set. It was a good set. Crowd were into it, and yeah, can't complain. Had a fucking good set. Made staying up that late worth it. So drove home. What did I have next? I had Friday night. I had Door 84. Never done this gig before. All reports, it's decent gig. So I was like, fuck yeah. And I was trying to get these 2 new jokes done for that night. One of them was my premature premise last week. So I got there and there were 3 people in the crowd, and I was like, fuck. All right, is what it is. And then by the time I got on, another 2 had come in. So it was a crowd of 5 plus all the comedians at the back. And the first 3, I was 4th, first 3 comedians, it was a rough night. It was a fucking rough night. So first comedian got up, and he was probably the one out of the 3 that had most similar jokes to me, just immature dick jokes, things like that. Didn't go the greatest. So I was like, fuck, I am done. So I get up there and do my first 2 jokes, and I'm like, and the crowd, this sounds fucking arrogant to say, but biggest laughs of the night. And I'm like, shit, I'm on here. I am fucking on. And there were just 2 of my classics that I knew I had to start my set with to get like in the zone, so to speak. And then I get to my newer shit and fucking lost them. Actually the one I lost them on wasn't even a newer bit. I've been doing it for probably since the start of the year now. Normally crushes. And I got to the punchline to crickets, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I had to do my new jokes after that, and I'm like, fuck, I've already lost them. I'm trying to win them over with new shit. Actually, the new bit that I did, the autistic sounds thing, like the ignition one, that actually worked pretty well, considering losing the crowd and considering 5 people being there. But then I lost them again on my final closing joke, and it was hell. It was hell. And then yesterday, I had a gig down at Southport at Mr. PP's. Get to the gig, it's like a little rooftop. Oh, that was the other kicker. It was the middle of the fucking day, and I'm like, I've never done a daytime gig, so I was nervous as shit for some reason about that. Something about like not being able to hide in the darkness. But I was like, oh, it is what it is. And I had the genius idea the morning of. I'm like, because I half felt bad leaving Nikita with the kids on a Sunday. Like, there were a lot. Anyone that has 2 boys knows that it's a lot. So I'm like, I had the brilliant idea Sunday morning. I'm like, because it's at Southport, I'm like, why don't I drop you guys at SeaWorld? I'll shoot off. I'll do my gig. Then I'll come back, and then I'll spend the rest of the time at SeaWorld with you guys. And Nikita's like, oh, it actually sounds better than being stuck here with them. Like, at least they'll be distracted with shit like that. So we do that. We load up the family. I get ready for my gig, drive down. I drop them to SeaWorld, drive to my gig. And then, I was super early for some reason. So we got there. I was maybe 45 minutes early for my gig. So I went and bought some new sunnies because the dog ate my sunnies the other day. Stupid fucking thing. Anyway, get to the gig and the crowd starts filling in, and it's all sort of ladies of the older generation, let's put it that way. And then scattered through, there are a few younger people. But majority of the crowd it was probably 80% women. And I was like, fuck. Like I said, all my shit is immature dick jokes, things like that. And I had one newish joke in there that I was going to try. And right before the gig, I switched it out for my old classic dog bit, just because I wanted a pretty safe set. I was like, oh, fucking... It was just a whole heap of things that laid up on top of each other. I was nervous about the daytime gig. I was nervous about the demographic of the crowd. Like, a lot of the times when I perform in front of older ladies, they don't like my dick jokes. And I was just so in my head. I was so nervous. I was even like sitting there off to the side on my own, just trying to like get out of my own head. But yeah, I was second up on the lineup, which was sick. It meant I got to get back to SeaWorld quicker. Get up and actually had a pretty fucking sick set. I was stoked with my set. The crowd fully bought into it. The room runner even messaged me last night. He said the crowd loved your shit, and I was like, thank you. Like, yeah, it was a sick set. So I think, don't quote me, I'm not sure how often that show is, but it'll be a sick Sunday session for people to go and have a look. But yeah, Mr. PP's on a midday at Southport. Who would have thought it, hey? I was speaking to a friend of the show, been on before, Lloyd Bendel. I think he was on last month's show, and he goes, it was a paid gig as well. He's like, oh, I recommend you using the money you get paid to buy a pizza there, because they're the best fucking pizzas on the Gold Coast. But I didn't take his word for it because, like I said, I had to shoot off to SeaWorld after, and I wish I did, because the pizzas that were coming out to the table looked fucking amazing. But next time. We'll get it next time, eh? And that's all my gigs for the week, I think. I think that's all I got to. But let's have a sip before we get into this. Now, there's a little trend going around the internet, particularly TikTok at the moment. And I'm planning on filming you know those green screen reels and shit you see where they play like a fucked up video on TikTok and then you keep chiming in and like going back and forth about how stupid the fucking video is? Like, Your Mum's House podcast does it so well, Tom Segura and Christina P. They do such a good job of finding idiots on the internet and just breaking them down and just making fun of them. This video came up on my TikTok this week. Again, it's a viral trend. It's called I think it's called a lolly salad. Stupid as fuck. And yeah, it's basically sad employees that this is what I think is wrong with the current like schooling and employment situation in the world is everybody is being brought up to be these like robots that follow a line, and then like one day their boss is like, and I'm guilty of it. I used to buy into it hook, line, and sinker until I got up to that like management job, and I more or less got told the secret code of employees are fucking stupid. They'll do whatever you say if we have like a barbecue once a month. And when I used to hear there was a barbecue or a pizza party when I was on the floor, I was like, oh my God, we're having a fucking pizza party this week. This is the sickest thing that's ever happened. I'm telling everyone I get to hang out after work with all these people that I fucking hate during the week, but there's going to be pizza. So I'm going to work a little bit harder next week to say thank you to my boss for giving me this pizza. And the boss is upstairs with all these other management friends going, these fucking idiots think we're doing it for them. I can write this whole thing off tax. They're going to buy into our whole fucking culture and shit like that. They're fucking stupid. Anyway, that's basically what this lolly salad thing is at the moment. The boss goes, hey, everyone, I'm going to bring a big bucket to work tomorrow, and I'm going to let you guys go to Woolworths or Coles tonight, and you can all buy your favorite bag of lollies. And then tomorrow, we can all come in here, and during our lunch break, we can all get our bags of lollies, and we'll tip them in the bucket, and we'll create a big lolly salad. And then at the end, we can all come and pick each other's lollies and just have a laugh. You know what I mean? Like a big team bonding exercise. And this video popped up, and it made me fucking feel sick on my insides at this workplace. And I'm like, I feel bad shitting on these people, but at the same time, there's some fucking characters in this video I'm about to show you. So I think what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to sit this laptop on my lap so I can stop and start it as we go through, because I think some of these people need addressing. So let's play it. It's a minute and a half. So I'll try not to stop it as much as I can. But like I said, some of these people need fucking policing or something. So let me get this video up here. Oh, I'm just trying to get it on my other screen up here. So there we go. All right. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Robert and I've bought caramello koalas.
Hi, I'm Simon and I brought Picnic.
Hi, I'm Wendy and I brought nibs.
Hi, I'm Kristen and I bought caramel wallabies.
Hi, I'm Sharon and I bought Freddos.
Hi, I'm Paul and I bought soft jellies.
All right. There's our first fucking menace, I reckon. Like the first 4 or 5, they're your typical background characters of your office, you know what I mean? Nothing really standing out. I think this is probably the most exciting thing they've done in a few weeks. But yeah, this bloke here, what was his name? Robert or something. He's yeah, I'd be keeping my eye on him. But who else we got here?
Hi, I'm Bob and I bought strawberries and cream. Hi, I'm John. I bought nightcrawlers.
That dude is a fucking predator if I have ever seen one. Those 3 right there, back to back to back, those are your 3 office pests. Those 2, they would be doing all the young girl interviews for sure.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I brought the natural company snakes.
Hi, I'm Brent. I bought ripe raspberries.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Let's party or picnic.
Lisa hasn't been to a party for 43 years, I don't think. Again, this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened in her fucking life, but...
Hi, I'm Heather. I brought sour squirrels.
Hi, I'm Ilona. I bought Cadbury Crunchies.
Hi, I'm Alison and I've got red frogs.
Hi, I'm Helen and I've got Sour Patch Kids.
Hi, I'm John and I bought marvellous creations.
My God, if that did not make your skin crawl right then, John is a marvelous pedophile. That's what he is. He did not bring marvelous creations to the party. He brought his pedophilic fucking personality. But anyway.
Hey, I'm Rebecca and I've got watermelon Sour Patch Kids.
Hi, I'm Avi and I got nibs.
Hi, I'm YP. I love to party and I've got my party mix.
I'm not even touching that one. Do with that what you guys will.
Hi, I'm Lisa and I am Snakes Alive.
Hi, I'm Freddie and I have Freddos.
My God, Freddie he's on the spectrum. The annoying thing about that, Freddie just got the biggest laugh I've ever heard. He's just got a bigger laugh than any material I'll ever write in my life by saying my name is Freddie and I bought Freddos. Like, that's some typical office humor right there. And you see what he's done there is he's tied his name Freddie into the product of Freddos. So it's pretty clever. It's pretty fucking clever. Hats off to him. But I don't know about you guys, but that video made me feel fucking sick that this is what's going on in workplaces as we speak. But let's move on. Let's move on to some movies and music. And actually, I don't think actually there is. No, let's leave him for next week. There's a new musician I found and I'm obsessed with his shit, but I'll talk about him next week. But the big one for this week, right? The Netflix TV series that I've been waiting a couple months for now to dropped on last Thursday, I think it was. And let me tell you, so it's called Tires, and it is Shane Gillis's TV series that he made with McKeever, who they do their sketch comedy together. And now Netflix has given them their whole TV series. I think it's like 8 episodes. And I didn't want to talk about it too early because I didn't want to just I've been pretty open that Shane Gillis is probably my new favorite comedian, right? So whatever he releases, I'm probably going to be pretty high on. But I wanted to really watch this before I came and gave an opinion. And again, this could just be because I'm a Shane Gillis dick rider, but it's one of the best TV series I've seen come out in ages, like comedy TV series. He's pushing envelopes. He's dropping gay, he's dropping retard. He got cancelled for Asian jokes. Like, we've been through that. He got cancelled from Saturday Night Live and basically lost his entire career for making an Asian joke on his podcast. And then he's crawled his way back up and is more or less probably one of the biggest comedians in the world at the moment. And the kicker is in episode 3, I think it was, he drops a pretty massive, like the whole episode is more or less a big joke on Asian people. And he even does like an Asian accent and things like that. And it's like, to crawl your way back up and then release this giant fucking TV series on Netflix, which is now, it's been number 1 since it's came out on Netflix. It's pretty fucking funny. And he even, episode 1, I'm watching it, and I tried to get this recorded for the podcast to play it. Netflix has this sneaky little thing on their fucking app or whatever it is that you can't screen record their episodes. So I've had to pause it at the part that's fucking sick. I'm watching episode 1 and Shane Gillis drops this little gem.
It's not a trap, dude, I promise. Also, can't get any worse.
Oh shit. That made my dick hard when I heard that. So Shane Gillis, he must be an avid listener of the podcast. Getting a shout out from Shane Gillis. Pretty fucking special. Again, I hope people realize I'm joking on that. I understand it was just a phrase that he said, but it was pretty sick to see. And who knows, might make its way into the entrance music or something shortly. Who knows what could happen? But yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm on my second time round watching it. Just because, again, I wanted to make sure that it was a sick show and I wasn't just fucking tooting his horn for no reason. But it's hilarious. I think it's going to be one of those like comfort watches for me, like The Office or fucking New Girl or something like that. Modern Family. I think it's going to be like that for me. Anyway, another thing I watched this week was another comedy special. Rachel Feinstein dropped her special on Netflix as well. Netflix is fucking killing it. Actually, the next show was on Netflix as well. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Pretty funny for a chick. That was a joke. There can be women comedians that are funny, believe it or not. There's a lot in the scene. I've got one emceeing the show that I'm putting on this week. We'll get to it. But yeah, hilarious. And I've heard her on podcasts before. Her husband is a firefighter in New York City. And just the jokes that she does about him, more or less like being gay with his why can't I say firefighter? Jeez. Yeah, funny as shit. So if you've got a spare hour or so, go watch it. It's a good laugh. Yeah, I wouldn't go rating it a 10 out of 10 or anything like that, but it's good if you're just looking for an easy watch on an afternoon. So go check that out. The last thing I watched this week was a kids movie. So if you've got kids, check this one out. Again, it's number 1 on kids Netflix at the moment. Thelma the Unicorn. I know. I can't believe I'm about to talk about it either, but it's a fucking sick movie. I was skeptical, and then Parker put it on and I was hooked. I was like, what is going to happen to this little unicorn? But yeah, it's a story of it's almost Hannah Montana as a cartoon. So it's basically, spoiler alert, it's basically this little pony that's trying to make it as a musician. For whatever reason in this world, people and animals can talk, right? So just scratch that, move past that. And she can't like get a career from it because no one wants to listen to this dirty little, actually she might be she's like a Shetland pony. No one wants to listen to her sing because she's nothing special, right? And one day this truck drives past her farm that's carrying glitter and pink paint, and she gets a carrot out of the field and puts it on her horn. And then at the same time, this truck hits a rock and all the shit in the back of the truck tips all over her. So she's covered in pink and glitter. She's got a costume now of being a unicorn, and the movie writes itself. She blows up deluxe, and you'll never guess, right before her big performance in front of everyone, she reveals herself as this Shetland pony. So yeah, pretty fucking cool movie. Pretty cool movie. Go check it out. I'll give that a 4 carrots out of 5 for a kids movie, but this is moving on to this weekend. This is the big one I'm looking forward to. I'm just scrolling down here so I can remember who's on the card. UFC, what are we up to? Is it 302? I think it might be 302. UFC 3, let's go 302. Is this Sunday. Now, Am I devastated that I didn't realize this card was on the same day that I'm putting the show on at Distillery Road? Yes. Am I going to be watching the main event while the show kicks off? Potentially. Depends how long the fights before it go. But yeah, we got Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. So it's going to be a sick fight. Everyone wrote Dustin off on his last fight. He's crawled his way back up to another title fight. And anyone that hates this dude is a fucking idiot. Like, everything that he stands for, everything he's done for his community and the fight game, insane. And now, I don't want to say it, but this is probably his last title shot. If we had to read between the lines, he's getting up there in age, things like that. Now, the shitty thing for him is he has to verse the Russian boogeyman, Islam Makhachev, who is basically Khabib's apprentice. So when Khabib retired, he more or less said, all right, here's my little protege that my dad and me have been training since he was a young boy, who's now going to dominate the UFC as well. So Dustin's got to try and get through him, and every fucking thing in my body is going to be crossed, hoping that he can somehow pull off an upset. But I don't know. Last thing I want to see is Dustin just get rear naked choked to unconsciousness. But if you had to be a betting man, that's probably the safe one. If you wanted to be a dangerous betting man, much like myself, you'd be going Dustin by knockout, which, hey, I might put a sneaky 5 on it. Who knows? Other exciting fights on the card. Sean Strickland is back since losing his title. That's going to be another fucking banger. He's versus Paulo Costa. And Costa was a little bit like boring for a bit there, but these last few fights, he's ramped it back up and he's exciting again. So he just looks like this roided out fucking giant man. But for some reason, he keeps passing drug tests. So not sure what's going on there. He could just be one of those natural freaks that look like that. So I don't know. I don't really have a favorite in that fight. It's just going to be an exciting fight to see, I think. One of those ones. But the Aussie on the card, everyone should get behind this bloke. He's Jake Matthews. He's a Sydney boy. Pretty sure he's from Sydney. And yeah, he's a bit of a fun character in the scene. I'm pretty sure he's like a Muslim and things like that. So yeah, I probably sounds weird me saying that, but he's not like your typical Muslim. Like, he found that religion later in life and blah, blah, blah. But go get behind him. Hopefully he can get a win by knockout as well. Actually, I think he's not too bad at jiu-jitsu either from memory, but either way, let's get behind the bloke. Give him some fucking support from the podcast. Premature premise for the week. We're chewing through them now. We're fucking rip-roaring. We dragged on a bit there with our stories at the start, but let's get on to our premature premise. And for now, this literally is just a premise. I don't have anything written for it. And again, it's not any groundbreaking comedy. It's just a story that happened that I'm like, I could turn that into a pretty funny bit, I think. But like I said last week, went and got some meds and shit like that to help with everything going on. And I got home and I said to Nikita, she's like, oh yeah, how much did it all cost? And I said like, forget how much it was. Say $300 or something. I'm like, oh, $300. And she's like, oh geez, that's pretty heavy. Meanwhile, she goes and spends triple that on these fucking herbal drinks and stuff that sit in our cupboard that she doesn't drink. But anyway, so I'm like, oh, wasn't that bad? And what if it helps me? Like, that'll be pretty good. And she's like, oh yeah, like, well, let's hope it works. And she like turned around, and then I turned back to her. I'm like, you took your fucking dog to the vet last week, and they said she has a little rash on her tummy because she might be allergic to some different species of grass. And as soon as they said that, like, you were instantly taking photos of your feet to like create an OnlyFans to do everything you possibly can for this poor little dog that's got a little rash on his tummy. So yeah, I found that funny that her husband, that she should love more than anything in life, goes and spends $300 on his mental health, and then that's an issue, but she'll go and spend fucking $1,000 on dog allergies. So yeah, I'm thinking about, and again, this is the tricky thing with comedy. Like, here's a peek behind the curtains for you guys. It's to punch a joke up, you've almost got to get like 2 or 3 different stories and combine them in the one. So I was sort of thinking of tying like my last dog's anxiety into it as well, because as we've spoken about, we've spent fucking thousands on that dog before she died. So yeah, I thought it was something funny about like me getting criticized for paying for medication to help with my anxiety. But if the vet says your dog's got anxiety and allergies, like you're just all of a sudden wallet's open, you're doing whatever you can for this dog. Like, yeah, it's, again, could be a pile of dog shit like the last few new ones that I've tried. The last few new ones I've tried, they haven't been dog shit. They just need a lot more work, which is scary. Scary to try new jokes up there, especially in some of these rooms that are very judgmental and scary. But yeah, I reckon I can do something with that. I might, in the next week or two, I might try and try and get something happening with that. As I just said that, I've just realised I have not got my gigs for the week sorted for the back end of this. So I might have to dip into my calendar as we're going through that shortly. But anyway, let's move on to our motivational clip for the week. And this is another one that's popped up in my feed for years now. And I was looking for one for this week and I was just like, this popped up again and I was like, oh, that'd be a fucking cool one to use. But yeah, let's play this one. This is basically just a kid talking to his mum. Yeah, super cute. Super funny. So let's hit it. Let's see what he's got to say.
If he could do it,
This isn't a movie.
he believed in himself. And you can too.
Man, you're gonna put it on me like that?
You can do anything that you want. You can get singing lessons, get a better job, make more money. You could be even like rich. You could live in the White House someday. You could be president.
Me?
Do what you want to do. It's not about it's not up to other people.
It's true.
It's up to you.
Boom, just putting it on his mum like that. So it's funny that kids can just look at things so simply and it almost makes sense. It's like, fucking, why can't you just go and do what you got to do? Like, you don't want to end up like all the people in that video that I showed you before, where the highlight of your year is going to make a lolly salad. But yeah, it was funny that like that kid can go and say something as wise as that. And then my 7-year-old at the dinner table last night, he was asking some question and Nikita and I are like, you can't do that until you're a teenager. And this 7-year-old, like I showed you that video the other week of that dude impersonating what kids are like these days. This 7-year-old gets up from the table and goes, oh yeah, well, I'm almost a teenager, so what's up, G? And then puts his 2 fingers up like this to us and walks away. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, in his head, he thought that was the coolest fucking thing that he could do. Like, that was a mic drop situation for him. And I've looked at Nikita and she's looked at me and we've tried so hard not to laugh at that, because it's like, well, don't fucking talk to us like that for a start. And that was fucking lame. So learn some better comebacks or you're going to get bashed at school. But let's get our gigs for the week. Hang on. Like I said, I'm going to have to open my calendar here because I'm fucking unorganized. How's that? There we go. All right. Easy. We got the 2 for the week. That makes things easy. Tuesday, the 28th. So that's the day this comes out. I will be at Fitzy's Logan Home. That's with Sit Down Comedy Club. So that'll be a fun gig. I think that kicks off 7 p.m. So if you're in the Logan sort of area, come check me out there. And this Sunday is the show that we're putting on with West Park Productions. Sunday, the 2nd of June. Now, this was the exciting information that I was buzzing off when I started the episode, and I have not confirmed this with the venue yet. But I've had 3 people message me this morning saying, hey, we've tried to go on the ticket link, because as most people do, they wait until the week of the event to buy their tickets or get their free tickets in this case. And they've gone ticket allocation exhausted, which means sold out. Like, yeah, every time that's come up in previous shows that I've run means sold out. So I'm going to confirm that with the show after this. But keep an eye on my socials, because if it's not sold out, I'm going to be plugging the fuck out of it all this week on, the podcast page, my personal page, West Park Productions page, community groups, blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be a fucking sick show. Like I said, Ree Down is the MC. She's one of the funniest MCs in the scene at the moment. Every time I see her MC, she fucking kills it. So stoked to have her on the first line up there. And Dusty Rich as the headliner. Again, like my wife saw him open for Theo Von, and she's like, why can't you be that fucking funny? And I'm like, dude, I'm literally on gigs with him like once a month, and he watches me bomb. So that's why I'm not as good at it as him. But anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on that week. We'll do next week. We'll do a bit of a recap and things like that. I think we're falling a little bit short of the hour, but that's okay. These things happen. But yeah, appreciate all you guys for listening. Again, appreciate anyone that did message last week. Share the podcast around to anyone you could fucking mention it to. If your workplace is having a lolly salad this week, drop a fucking little note that says Can't Get Any Worse podcast in the lolly salad. We'll spread the word. We'll grow this shit. If you want to get in touch, send me a DM on Instagram or send me an email at cantgetanyworsepod@gmail.com. Other than that, hope you all have an amazing week, and I will see you later.